So, Ginger.
Yeah?
You know how we wanted to start a podcast, but we were having trouble coming up with a topic?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my pitch. The topic of the podcast is us trying to come up with the topic for the podcast.
What, like we pitch each other podcast ideas and that's the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. We could call it, What Should Our Podcast Be About?
Miles, that's really stupid. Let's do it.
What should this song be about? I'm trying to figure it out. What should this song be about? Could you perhaps help me out? I've had a moment of doubt. What should this song be about? Welcome to What Should Our Podcast Be About? The podcast where we try to figure out what this podcast that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm Miles Grover.
And I'm Ginger Barham.
The only update that I have from last week, and you already know about this, but for the listeners, is we watched a video about that Colleen Hoover book we had been talking about, and it turns out that after they laugh about their son's big balls, the son dies. The baby dies immediately after in a car accident.
Horrific.
So that's another reason not to read that book, I guess, because that's legit a little bit traumatizing, maybe.
Yeah, and I talked to you a little bit about this, but I just hate it that like the baby is just like killed as an afterthought. It's just purely a plot device. There's no from what I gathered, there's no real care given to the amount of time that you would spend grieving over something like that.
Yeah.
It's just meant to make him tortured because of his difficult past.
Yeah, it's part of the character's past that made him sad all the time or whatever. And I mean, we haven't read the book, so I guess it could be more care to it, but it didn't seem like it. I mean, it's basically the same trope of what's it called, fridging or something, where a woman's dead body is in the fridge or whatever, and just to make the male character backstory or whatever, and not really treat it as a real person or a character or whatever.
Exactly,
but just with a baby instead.
With a baby, yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I probably want to read those books based on the video, because I watched a couple videos about them, and based on those, I think there's maybe some funny, fun, terrible stuff like that, but mostly they just seem regular terrible.
Yeah.
Just probably wouldn't be fun to read.
Over dramatic, super melodramatic.
Yeah, and characters being quote unquote romantic when they're actually just being crazy creeps.
Creepy as fuck. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only update I have. So do you want to talk about Popcast? Popcast, that's a new thing.
Yeah, I want to talk about Popcast. What's a Popcast?
It's like a Pop-Tart, but for Popcasts. I said Popcast again.
It is a podcast-shaped Pop-Tart.
Podcast isn't the shape.
It is a Pop-Tart you can listen to.
Pop-Tart you can... I always listen to my Pop-Tarts. They're very
They
wise.
give lots of sage advice.
Yes. I mean, I guess I accidentally had an idea for a Pop-Tart based podcast.
A podcast about Pop-Tarts called Popcast.
The only problem with that is that didn't Jerry Seinfeld just make a movie or something about a documentary about Pop-Tarts or something?
Oh yeah, I heard it was really bad.
Yeah, where it's isn't it hilarious that someone would make a thing about Pop-Tarts, right? It seemed like was kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
Supposedly hilarious.
I haven't watched it, but I have not heard good things about it.
Oh, yeah. But that aside, I do enjoy Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
However, I do only pretty much like one or two kinds of Pop-Tarts.
I am not a big Pop-Tarts fan. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure I've ever had a Pop-Tart.
Oh, well, then we should do a podcast about it. We'll have to try all the flavors, and I don't know, see if we can get some kind of rare flavors. I feel like there's probably seasonal flavors or flavors you can only get when it's a promotion for something.
I don't know. Do I need to get into another food that's bad for me?
For content? Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
For content.
Yes,
okay.
for content. So it's fine.
Do it for the clicks.
Do it for the vine. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much just like the frosted strawberry ones.
Yeah.
I think I've had blueberry ones. There's brown sugar ones. You probably like those. Mm-hmm. There's s'mores ones, I think. There's all kinds of flavors.
Yeah. So you're saying there's probably one out there I'll like.
Probably.
Yeah.
I feel like in the fall there's a pumpkin spice one.
Well, I do like my pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited that we are creeping closer to fall.
Yes.
By the way.
Well, I mean, it's September, so we're getting real close to fall.
Yeah, but it's not fall weather yet. I'm excited for the fall weather to hit.
Oh, it's almost Svetlana's birthday also.
Yeah.
Probably should get her something.
What do you want for your birthday, Svetlana?
Get her some kind of
Leave a comment.
skibidi Phantom Tax Ohio something.
Yeah.
Probably. Because that's all she ever talks about.
No, she also says slay.
Yes, that's true.
So maybe you get her Buffy the
An
Vampire
axe?
Slayer.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you buy her a steak.
Yeah.
Vampire Slayer starter kit.
You think she's specifically talking about slaying vampires?
Yes, she's saying slay, as in kill all the vampires.
Kill a vampire. So she's talking about vampire genocide every time she says slay.
Yeah. Is genocide bad in that context?
Kind of depends on the fiction, right?
Yeah.
Are vampires like
Purely evil?
all purely evil and just sort of seem like they're like people?
Yeah. Well, in
Or-
the Buffy universe, there's only like 2 vampires that are good.
Yeah, they're demons in Buffy universe.
Yeah.
And they look like pig monsters when they turn into vampire form, which I always hated.
You hate it. I like it. You hate it.
I hate it. But yeah, I don't know. Like lots of fiction has vampires that, can choose not to eat or to drink blood or eat blood, I guess.
Or they could just like have pigs
Or human blood rather. Yeah. And they're basically just people with a few tweaks to how people work. Like they don't die and they except for sunlight and whatnot. Yeah, so the genocidal implications of killing all of them.
A podcast about vampire lore
Okay.
called Slay.
Called slay. Or don't. To slay or not to,
To slay or not to slay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be kind of interesting. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different kinds of vampire lore and vampire.
Maybe we also come up with our own vampire lore.
Yeah. Well, we could also explore like some of the original like folklore. Like vampires originally were not like pale. They were like ruddy from like being full of blood and stuff. Or at least in I feel like Slavic folklore maybe, which I think is kind of where they originated. At least the term vampire and stuff.
Mildly interesting.
Mildly interesting. Dracula in the original novel, which I've read part of, had a mustache.
Was that a humble brag?
Yes, I've read part of that book. La di da. He had a mustache and didn't look like Bela Lugosi or whatever. But we could also talk in general about like differences between like monster movie versions of creatures and like their origins. Like Frankenstein in the original novel was nothing like Frankenstein in the movies.
You mean Frankenstein's monster?
Yeah, no.
Pushing my glasses up my nose.
I hate that. But yeah. Like in the novel, he's like a thoughtful guy who's doesn't have neck bolts and he's not like fire bad and just wandering around, whatever.
Right. I do remember that.
Like, and that is a novel I did read the whole thing because it's quite short.
No big deal, but I have also read the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Probably, I guess we'd have to reread it if we wanted to do that. But and I'd probably have to finish Dracula.
yeah,
Bram Stoker.
I read it when I was not much older than when Mary Shelley wrote it. So it's been a long time.
Yeah. For some reason, the way you said that sounded like you were like the same age at the same time as Mary Shelley. Like you were hanging out nearby while she was writing it or something. I don't know.
I am incredibly old.
You're a vampire.
I don't know how I had a child.
You're a vampire for somehow.
I am a vampire that gave birth.
Yes. That's probably a thing in some lore. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it is in Buffy, if you remember right.
Who gives what vampire? Does Drusilla give birth or something?
No, Angel's partner. Why can't I remember her name? Darla.
Darla. Right. I was thinking like the girl that was on Dexter also.
Yeah, Darla.
Darla.
Although she has to like...
She has to like become alive again or something kind of, doesn't she?
I
Or
don't
sort of?
remember, but she like dies to give birth to him.
Yeah, she becomes not a vampire
She
kind
like
of or
slays
something.
herself.
Yeah.
And then he's born.
It's a whole like weird Wolfram and Hart thing or something. Isn't
Yeah.
It? That was on Angel, right?
That was on Angel.
Not on Buffy. Yeah.
Which is, just an offshoot of the Buffyverse.
Yeah, no, I know. I just, yeah.
Twilight.
Oh, right. Of course, Renesmee.
Right. Can't forget Renesmee. Although she's still human when she gives birth, right?
No, I don't think so.
No, she is. Because he gets her pregnant. She hasn't been turned yet.
But isn't she gonna like die in childbirth and they have to turn her or something like
Yeah.
that? So, but I don't think feel like she's a vampire by the time she gives birth, and the baby also grows up super fast.
No, she's not a vampire when she gives birth, but the baby's like killing her, and then like I think she basically basically, if I remember right, she basically dies and then they turn her.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
I guess it's been a while since I read those and I never watched the movies. So I did watch the first movie and it was very bad. So
I have seen all of them. And in that one, they really like went overboard on how like sickly she looks.
Yeah.
You're like, this person really does look like she's being like, she's having all of the liquids sucked out of her from the inside. It's really gross.
Yeah, so I guess we'd want to watch those and read those again, maybe, if we're going to talk about them. We would probably want to watch like Morbius.
True Blood.
I don't think I watched all the seasons of True Blood, maybe, but I watched a few of them.
I didn't watch all of them, but I feel like I watched the majority of them. I mean, it got a little dumb.
Yeah, I feel like it got dumb once there were like werepanthers and stuff after season 4 or something like that. It was like, they're like, we'll just bring in any random weird thing.
Well, they're based on books, so that was all stuff from the books.
I didn't read the books.
The books are terrible.
Oh, really?
They have a much trashier vibe than the show.
I wouldn't say the show isn't trashy.
Yeah, but like trashy in like a, I don't know, Midwest housewife kind of way. Like calling people, like there's sex scenes where like the penis is referred to as Mr. Happy. Like,
doesn't that happen in 50 Shades as well?
Maybe.
I feel like.
Yeah. I had to stop reading them because I was like, the story is interesting, but I cannot handle this writing. Like, it's just too, like, romance novel trashy.
Yeah.
Not even romance novel trashy. It's just like...
just bad.
It's just like somebody who's really into sex, but, like, doesn't want to, like, be explicit.
Right.
It's like the way a teenager would write about sex.
Okay. Anyway, so it seems like there's lots of things we could do if we wanted to do a monster mash.
Monster mash. A sleigh podcast.
Yeah, a sleigh podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So those are some ideas that we had already. Do you have any other ideas to talk about?
Yeah. So it was brought to my attention earlier by you that there's talk of Michael Bay making a skibidi toilet movie.
Yes.
And that got me thinking, what about a podcast where we take memes and talk about how what type of movie we could make based on the meme and who would direct it, who would we cast in it?
I mean, that's a thing that really happens in Hollywood, right? Yeah. They made an emoji movie with Patrick Stewart as the poop emoji, right? Yeah. Like, they'll make anything into a movie.
I know. Well,
and they're making skibidi toilet, or at least they're working on.
Well, maybe we pitch some ideas and Hollywood can hit us up.
Yep, Hollywood can bring us in. Huh, okay. Do you have any ideas for that to begin with?
Let's see. What are some memes that I like? How about the John Travolta one where he's
like back and forth?
It's the clip from Pulp Fiction where he's just like looking around.
I don't know.
It's just a lost John Travolta movie.
I don't know if, can you take a GIF from a movie and use that to base a movie on?
Yeah.
Because that's already what that movie was.
It's telling a different story.
Okay, so this is just John Travolta trying to get to the grocery store. And he can't find where he keeps looking at his map and he's like, his Wi-Fi's not working or something. He can't find it. His part of towns he's in really got confusing layout or something.
There's no cell phone towers.
Right.
Got like one bar. I didn't say it would be an exciting movie.
Yeah. It's like the Odyssey, but little. Very little. Actually, that is what the Odyssey basically is John Travolta meme.
Yeah. What about that meme with the girl in the red dress and the guy like with his girlfriend, but looking back at the girl in the red dress?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I have seen that turned into a video by AI. Like, that's one of the like sample things that the AI videos have.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
But I feel like that is lots of movies already.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
How about a horror movie about ceiling cat watching you?
I would watch that.
Or like long cat being too long.
Oh, what about a long Furby horror movie?
Long Furby, yeah. I don't know if that's a meme so much as a weird thing on the internet, but
yeah, I mean, it could just be weird. It could be things.
Long Furby. Yeah, no, that could be a movie.
Weird things on the internet.
Or different kinds of weird Furbies because there's like, I think I've seen like a buff Furby. Yeah. There's like Evan and Caitlin on YouTube made a Furby dog robot thing. Yeah, that was
creepy.
It was pretty creepy.
Yeah. So that could be fun to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
What about you? You got any ideas?
When we were in New York, we went to a slime place.
Slumu Institute,
Which is like a place. There's a number of places, and I guess I don't know if they have a lot of them around here, but in New York, there's a number of places that are just kind of like, they call them museums or institutes or things. They're not really like museums, but like they're just kind of place to go do a bunch of fun activities around some certain topic.
And they're very expensive.
And they're quite expensive, so you really only do it once.
Yeah.
Like I took Svetlana to the Museum of Ice Cream, which was like a place that was decorated with like cool ice cream wallpaper, and like there was a sprinkle ball pit at the end, and you could get a couple of little bits of ice cream as you went through, and it was like just ice creamy stuff, right?
A lot of them are basically like photo ops.
Yeah, they're like things to take photos for Instagram, basically.
Yeah.
And the slime one is kind of like that too, but a little bit more interactive. There was like pedestals with like a bowl of slime in them all over the place that you could play with, different kinds of slime. And then we got to make our own slime at the end.
That was pretty fun.
Which was kind of fun. So anyway, the idea, I guess, is a slimecast. We talk about slime, different kinds of slime.
What about a podcast where we try to come up with a museum we could open? Because seems pretty lucrative.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what the margins are on those places. They certainly charge quite a bit, though.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of overhead costs or initial costs.
Initial costs, but not like... But after the initial cost, it seems like probably not a lot of overhead.
Yeah, I mean, the slime one, they got to make all the slime, and there were like, I feel like there were like 40 people on like working there, or a lot of people working there.
Yeah, well, the one we went to, the Color Factory.
Oh, which is another similar kind of thing.
It was definitely like mostly you're just walking through rooms.
Right. We also went when we were in Phoenix. We went to that Museum of Illusions or whatever, which is another similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which that one seems pretty easy because there was, I don't know, like 5 people working, and you really just walk through and take pictures of cool illusions and stuff.
Yeah, that's what the Color Factory was like.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah, we could try to come up with ideas for a space like that.
Yeah. Museum of
Dogs.
Unicorns.
Okay. Unicorns is interesting.
Yeah.
Dogs, I was thinking you could go in and pet different kinds of dogs, puppies.
Well, that definitely has like liability.
Yeah, that would be a lot more difficult than a fictional one like unicorns, probably.
Yeah.
It would be cool, though.
Lots of unicorns.
I guess it would be a dog petting zoo, basically. I guess petting zoos are already a thing.
Yeah.
I guess cat cafes, but like a dog cafe.
Unicorns that you could like sit on and take pictures and stuff. That could be fun.
That could be cool.
I feel like I would go to a museum like that.
Yeah, maybe there's just like crazy paintings of like a unicorn with a machine gun shooting a leprechaun. Just random weird stuff like that. I feel like people would be into that.
Yeah, they also had the thing that they did have at Color Factory that was pretty cool. And I don't know if I showed you our pictures from this, but like you got like a little card with a QR code on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there'd be little like places in the different rooms where you could scan your QR code, and then you look up at wherever the camera is and pose, and it'll take a picture of you, and then at the end it emails you all your pictures.
Oh, do you have to pay for that?
No.
Oh.
No. I mean, you have to pay if you want them printed out, but you get the like, I mean, who cares about that? You get the digital ones.
Yeah.
Sent to your email.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. And there was also just like the Children's Museum in Phoenix, which was basically the same kind of thing, but more just random children's stuff, like stuff kids to play on and play with and stuff.
Best children's museum.
It was very cool. Yeah.
So good. I that's one that I think Svetlana actually would enjoy. She was pretty bored at the one in New York.
The color one?
No. The color one she enjoyed. But the children's museum.
Oh, right. Because you guys went to the children's museum in New York too. Yeah. Yeah, the unicorn one could be cool. There could be like a room that's just like all glitter and sparkles and stuff like that.
Ooh, could we get some rights to The Last Unicorn and have a Last Unicorn themed room? 'Cause that would sure make me happy.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know what it would cost as far as getting the rights to that, but
we could have that crazy drunk skeleton.
Yeah, I feel like people might be a little confused about that, like running into him in their unicorn factory or whatever.
Well, you'd just be like on the wall, like a painting or something.
Yeah.
Background, you know. If you haven't seen The Last Unicorn, get on it.
Yeah. I don't know if I liked that movie that much, but I did like the drunk skeleton a lot.
You know what I think about that? You're wrong.
You think, yeah, I thought that's what you were going to say. You're wrong.
You're wrong.
Yeah, okay. So what would we have in a unicorn? What else? Or, we could also just do like Museum of Glitter or like
Well, that could be
glitter, confetti, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a nightmare to clean.
Yeah, there was a room at the Color Factory that had like large pieces of confetti that like rained down every so often.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty cool. Made for some good photo ops.
Museum of colorful little stuff. And they can have the confetti and glitter and like little beads, little perler beads maybe.
Yeah. The Museum of Crafts.
Museum of finger painting. You just go in and get you go in, you get like a jumpsuit or something. And you just
okay.
jump and paint and like you're going to get dirty. Obviously you got to sign a waiver about that or whatever.
Oh my gosh. That would be a kid's dream.
That would be pretty sweet, right?
Yeah.
And there's like a wall where everybody's like put their hands on it. They've jumped on it or their body that's covered in paint.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be really cool. I don't know if it would be possible to really pull off a thing like that.
Yeah, but it'd be cool.
It'd be real cool. All right. Well, that's an idea. Do you have any more ideas?
No, I don't. I mean, I might come up with more, but I don't have any more off the top of my head.
Okay. I guess these are ideas that we've talked about before, kind of to some extent, but I keep having ideas where we just have to like watch a certain bad movie over and over again. Like we're trapped in The Room. We're trapped in Tommy Wiseau's The Room, and we have to just watch The Room over and over again, or we have to watch Cats over and over again, I don't know. So something like that seems like it could be fun. I don't know if it's an every week kind of thing, but I mean, I guess there are podcasts that do that. Like we've talked about in the past. There's The Worst Idea of All Time, I think the podcast is called, where I think they watch the same thing for every week for a year or something like they watch Sex and the City or whatever every week for a year or something like that.
Okay.
Those are the guys that are also on the Paul Blart.
Right.
Till Death Do Us Blart podcast.
Right. So like we watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 every week.
We could, I guess.
I don't think we could say anything that hasn't been said.
No, I feel like that particular one is kind of
Tapped.
covered. Yeah. But
yeah, watch Troll 2 every week.
Right. Or we could, something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much more of an idea there is. We could just talk about some of these movies some more, but I don't know. I feel like that could be fun. It is fun / torturous.
Yeah. No, I do like that idea. I mean, I like any idea that involves us watching bad movies, really.
Right. All right. Do we have anything that we like so far?
Yeah. What have we talked about so far? We've got meme movies. We've got...
We could also just talk about skibidi toilet stuff more, because I think I read that in 2023 it had more than 65 billion views of skibidi toilet stuff on YouTube.
I don't know if my skibidi toilet knowledge is gonna like be up to snuff for that.
Well, no, yeah, we would have to review the documents, review the tapes.
We've got a Slay vampire podcast,
or monsters
in general.
Yeah.
What else?
Slime. And various kinds of like a museum. What do you even call those things? Tourist traps, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. Like
tourist. Sounded like you said tourist.
Tourist. What do you say?
Tourist.
Those are both common pronunciations.
I know. I just don't think I ever noticed that you said it that way.
Tourist.
And I'm more like tourist. I wonder if that's an East Coast versus West Coast thing.
I feel like I probably say either one randomly.
Yeah.
I did always think it was interesting that the ride at Disney World is called Star Tours because it's supposed to sound like Star Wars, but I feel like I don't necessarily say those the same all the time.
Yeah. I definitely say Star Tours. So I never even thought about that being a pun.
Right, Star Tours.
Until you said it
Star
just
Wars.
now.
Yeah. Well, because I didn't get it at first either. I was like, why is it called Star Tours? That's kind of weird. And I was like, oh, it's supposed to be like Star Wars. And I guess when I've just been saying it now, I've been saying basically the same. It sounds
closer, yeah.
The same vowel, but I feel like even then it's not quite the same, or at least it doesn't feel quite the same. Anyway.
I'm definitely more of a to than a toe.
Tars. Star Tars.
I always say tours.
Yeah, tours. Yeah, I don't know.
I've never said tours.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that feels weird to say.
Both of those are common ways to pronounce the word.
I believe you because you said it that way.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting. Anyway.
Okay.
Maybe not that interesting for a podcast.
A podcast about regional pronunciation differences.
Well, I know you want to make that podcast.
There are lots of them.
Yeah.
There are very many
I know you will have a lot to say.
there are people who don't say the words Mary, Merry, and Marry the same.
Really?
Mary, Mary, Mary. They say them different.
How
and
do
I
they
don't
say 'em?
I don't actually totally know.
Murray?
Mary, Mary.
How would you even say it differently?
I don't know. We'd have to research it, but I know there's people who don't have those merged. There's people who do and don't say cot as in the little, like a little bed, and
Bed.
caught as in like the caught by the police
Yeah.
or whatever. They don't say those. They do say those the same, or they don't say those the same.
I feel like I say those the same.
Cot and caught.
Caught.
Would you say I was caught by the police, or I was caught by the police?
I was caught by the police. I slept on a cot.
You said that was a little different, I think.
Did I?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
They're obviously close, but they're a little bit different, right?
yeah. Mildly interesting. The
Mildly
podcast.
interesting. Or like there are people who say dawn, like the mafia dawn, and dawn like the sunrise, the same or different.
Dawn,
And dawn.
Dawn, or like donning clothes.
Donning clothes. Yeah.
I donned my robe.
Yes, which is did you know that that's just a shortened version of put on?
I think you did.
Don
tell
and
me
doff
that,
are
yeah.
put on and put off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would be interested in talking about that more, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good podcast or
Well,
it's a podcast
for
I would
someone.
listen to.
It's for
Yeah.
someone. It's a niche podcast.
Yeah,
there
for
are
sure.
people out there that are interested in that. I am only mildly interested.
I think we should talk about monster stuff more.
I agree. I think that will be fun. All right. Should we start with vampires?
Yeah, sure.
So
I feel like vampires are one of the kinds of monsters with the most different movies and stuff that get made about
Yeah.
them. There's only a few Frankensteins, right? Or
Frankenstein's monster.
whatever.
who's your favorite vampire?
Okay, I just want to set the record straight. If your dad's name is Frankenstein, your name is also Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So his name is Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So he's also he's Frankenstein's monster, and he's also Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. Shut up. Stop being pedantic.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
telling. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
okay.
it.
What was your question?
Oh, who's your favorite vampire?
Marceline, probably.
Ooh.
Marceline, the vampire
okay.
queen.
Yeah.
Marceline is interesting because of a number of reasons, I think. But if you haven't seen Adventure Time, Marceline is one of the characters. She's a vampire queen. Early on, she's sort of a semi-friend, semi-antagonist. The treehouse that Finn and Jake live in is actually her treehouse, apparently, and she like kicks them out
Yeah.
at a certain point.
She writes songs about French fries.
She writes a lot of songs. She can subsist on sucking the color red out of things instead of sucking blood if she wants to,
which is great.
which is pretty fun. It reminds me of my other favorite vampire, Bunicula.
I was going to say Bunicula.
Yeah, who sucks the color out of vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you already named my two favorites.
Yeah.
Marceline's the only one I've cosplayed as, so.
Right, sure. It might be hard to cosplay as Bunicula.
Yeah.
I guess there's Vampire Cat from my comic.
Yeah.
He's not a vampire, really, but
But he's up there as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't really...
Who's your least favorite vampire?
I don't know who's my least favorite vampire. It might be Gary Oldman with the butt hair in that Dracula movie.
It's not Edward Cullen.
Yeah. Well, it's not Edward Cullen because I feel like there's other vampires in those that are even more annoying than him.
Yeah.
Maybe there's Vampire's Kiss.
Oh,
We could
yeah.
talk about that. And
that might be my favorite vampire for different reasons.
well, so there's the lady in it is she actually a vampire? Doesn't she turn into a bat? Or no, there just was a bat.
I mean, I think the idea is that he made it all up in his head, right?
I feel like he did get with a girl and then later a bat came into his apartment.
Yeah.
And so spoilers, I guess, for Vampire's Kiss, but Nicolas Cage thinks he's turning into a vampire and it turns out he's just crazy.
Yeah.
But it's not totally clear whether like the encounter he had with a woman in the early part of the movie, if she really was supposed to be a vampire or not. I guess not. I don't know. It's not really clear.
Yeah.
But like because I think there was a bat in his apartment and we're maybe supposed to think it was her or something.
Yeah.
But
Also, like, trigger warning for this movie if you decide to watch it, if you seek it out. I mean, it is an entertaining movie, but it does get pretty dark.
Yeah, there's
and there's
some
definitely
sexual assault.
There's
stuff.
some sexual assault that's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Tonally very weird.
Very weird movie. It's a movie that's like fun up until the end, and then you sort of feel bad, but it still was fun, I guess. But
yeah, actually, I feel like about halfway through it, the tone shifts to like darker rather than funny.
Right, but it's more towards the end that you realize like he's really not a vampire. There's no vampire happening at all.
Yeah.
But he does at one point, I mean, like, to get an idea what this movie is like, he runs down the street going, I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
And he's got fake teeth in.
He's got fake teeth in.
Yeah.
It's a very strange movie.
Yeah.
And he does like a sort of accent throughout the movie, like a slightly non-rhotic accent.
That he said was like based on a relative of his or something.
Yeah, it's very weird.
It's a very interesting movie.
Not strictly speaking a vampire, though, I guess. So we started watching the newer version of Interview with the Vampire, the TV show.
Yeah, we need to continue with that.
But
we only watched the first season, right?
I don't think we even finished it, did we?
I think we finished the first season. I could be wrong.
I feel like we only watched 2 or 3 episodes.
Well, we should finish it.
Yeah. I did enjoy the original Interview with the Vampire movie and the original book.
Yeah.
I read that book. I think I might have read Vampire Lestat as well.
I think I read both of those too.
I don't think I read Queen of the Damned,
time.
though. I didn't read
I didn't read Queen of the Damned.
But we can talk about those. There's True Blood.
Yeah, True Blood. I talked about a little bit.
Yeah, True Blood, I feel like...
I liked the show a lot.
Like I said, I enjoyed the show for the first couple seasons. I don't know. I never really liked Bill, the vampire.
Yeah, I liked Bill all right.
I feel like he was just kind of annoying.
He was a bit broody.
He was fine, yeah.
He was a bit broody. I mean, Eric was definitely the more fun one.
Yeah, Eric was more interesting.
Yeah. Watch some other vampire movies that are fun.
I watched that. Did you watch it? I can't remember. The recent Nicolas Cage Dracula one. What's that one called? Renfield.
Oh, no, I didn't. You did.
Yeah.
But you watched it on the plane, but
That one was kind of fun. Nicolas Cage was pretty fun as a weird vampire. I don't know. It was sort of, I guess it was mid. It was like kind of fun, but not that memorable. Awkwafina. It's like Awkwafina's in it. She's a cop, and it's like Renfield teams up with the one cop that wants to not be like a crooked cop or whatever. So it's kind of a plot I don't really care about to begin with, you know?
right.
And then Renfield's superpower is that he has to eat bugs to get powers, basically. Which I guess is kind of like...
That's kind of like a vampire's assistant kind of thing, right?
Well, it's specifically a Renfield thing from some movies where like he's shown as creepy. Actually, in the book, I believe I read enough of the book. Yeah, I think in the book he does eat bugs.
Okay.
It's just because he's supposed to be like a creepy little guy,
right?
That he eats bugs. It's not like it gives him superpowers, I don't think.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a reimagining of it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's from his point of view, and he's in like a AA meeting, but like...
But for like...
Well, I think it's actually just an AA meeting, but he's pretending like his problems are due to drugs instead of his master or whatever, which I guess he's kind of like addicted to the power of or something. And obviously he has to go out and like find victims for Dracula.
Right.
And that's his, that's obviously eats him up or whatever. I don't know. That was an okay movie.
About Midnight Mass.
Okay, Midnight Mass was kind of interesting.
I thought that was very interesting. Are there any other like movies or stories where vampires fly?
Well, they turn into bats.
Well, yeah.
And fly.
But this one like gets just like actually sprouts wings.
Right. They're sort of like angelic almost I guess demonic, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. But they have sort of a weirdly, obviously there's a religious, well, maybe not obviously, but the show is about like a priest.
Yeah.
Who's a vampire.
Yeah.
Basically. And he went to like Jerusalem or something and went to like a crypt, and there was like vampires in there or something.
Yeah.
But they're like inhuman kind of vampires with big wings and stuff.
The thing I found really interesting about that one is like, because the town slowly starts becoming vampires because of he's like giving
he's putting his blood in the communion
wine.
Whatever.
And I thought that it like people start getting healed of their ailments.
Right. So it's like sort of seems like a miracle at first.
Yeah.
Right?
But then there's the one woman who's pregnant.
And she's healed of being pregnant.
Yeah.
So they're like, there's no evidence that you were pregnant.
Yeah.
Like they don't have the records that she was pregnant, and then when they do a physical on her, there's like no evidence from her what her body's like that she was pregnant.
Yeah, which is
wild. Yeah,
wild.
I mean, it makes sense, right? As a thing.
Yeah.
Like as far as the vampire healing or whatever goes.
Yeah.
I never did think it made very much sense and I don't remember if this was in the books or not, but in Interview with the Vampire, they show that once you get a haircut or the haircut you have when you die, like Kirsten Dunst tries to cut off her hair
and it just
immediately grows back, which doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, but I kind of like it.
Your hair heals.
Yeah.
Like your hair's already dead.
Yeah.
How would it just know to grow back to the exact same style and stuff it was in
before? None of it makes any sense anyway, so.
But some of it makes less sense than other parts, I feel like. But anyway, I in my comic Thinking Lincoln that I used to do, I had a vampire Charles Dickens character. And at one point, there was a comic where it turned out that Charles Dickens, as a vampire, if he picks his boogers, they just grow back, which means he's an infinite booger factory, which I guess you would be an infinite hair factory.
Yeah.
If you had the haircut thing.
Yeah.
So I get that could be a fun thing to explore, like some of the implications of like some of the lore. Like if you cut your hair off and it grows back, you could just cut your hair and have an infinite supply of matter from the hair, right?
Yeah.
Step
1,
magically.
become a vampire. Step 2, Step 3, profit.
I don't know what you would do with all that hair, but maybe fuel or something. Like if you have infinite of anything, I feel like you can make something out of that.
You could sell your hair for lots of money.
Well, you could definitely
become the richest vampire.
Well, I think once you flood the market with all your hair, it probably goes down in value. But if you have infinite of any matter, right? Normally that's not possible. So there's something you could do with that. I don't know. You just burn it for fuel or something. I don't know. It would be bad smelling fuel, certainly.
Yeah. Ew. Yeah. Burning hair. Gross.
I mean, there's also I just finished a Discworld book we were talking about last week, Thud, which includes a vampire character, and because they're in the city of Ankh-Morpork in those books, there are zombies and vampires and trolls and like all kinds of people live in the city, and the vampires get along by being what they call like black ribboners. They're basically like teetotalers on blood. They promise to not drink human blood. Anyway, so there's one that joins the City Watch, and there's also a werewolf in the City Watch, and so like they're not getting along super well, but they're talking about like how it works when the werewolf turns into a wolf, her body just turns into a wolf, right? Because there's a similar amount of mass, I guess. But for the vampire, she has to turn into like 100 bats to keep the same mass between her body and the bats. And then she has to keep track of all the little bats when she turns into them and stuff.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So that could be an interesting sort of thing to talk about. Like
we haven't talked about what we do in the shadows.
Oh, yes. Which
is a very good one.
Yes. Well, and there's the movie
and the series.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed both.
Yeah. We didn't finish this. We haven't finished the series. Yeah, but we should watch more of that. Something I like about what we do in the shadows is that they go, because they're like a comedy thing, right? And they're not trying to like establish themselves as like a different kind of vampire. They go as hard as they can on just like vampire-y vampires, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're like different Draculas basically, I guess, but
yeah,
they're not like cool modern vampires, or like in Supernatural there's vampires but they have like a whole mouthful of sharp teeth, or like a lot of types of fiction want to distinguish themselves in terms of what the vampires are like.
What's the different thing we're going to do with our vampires?
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas for what we do in the shadows, the different thing is that it's comedic. So they lean just really hard into the vampire-y vampire.
The stereotypical vampire stuff. Yeah.
Which is very fun.
Yeah. Like they have like an 800-year-old roommate that lives in the basement.
That's like a Nosferatu kind of vampire. Yeah. I think he's thousands of years old or something. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. He's wonderful.
Yeah. What we do in the shadows is very good.
Yeah. That's a fun one.
So yeah, I don't know what we have to talk. What was the sort of premise of this again? I guess just talking about monsters.
Talking about different monsters.
Different versions of them.
Different versions.
And yeah.
Maybe we come up with our own. I don't know if we want to do that right now, but that is a thing we could do.
Yeah. And we could, I think if we wanted to do more of this, we would probably want to read some of the earlier lore and like read Dracula and stuff like that, and can be able to compare and contrast.
Watch Nosferatu.
Watch Nosferatu, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're getting close to the end of our time here. We probably should start wrapping up.
Yep, we got a little guy that's going to wake up soon. So.
Yep.
We've got a cat that's bugging us.
Right.
Yeah. Should I talk about our social media?
Go for it.
You can find all of our social media on our website, which is coolpodcast.website. You can send us your ideas to ideas@coolpodcast.website, and we will give you a shout out and talk about how cool you are. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all the things. And yeah, that is it. That's all I got.
Welcome to What Should Our Outro Be About? The outro where we try to figure out what this outro that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm still here.
And I'm also still here.
I have some mongoose facts. If you're
Of course you
interested
do.
in mongoose facts. I believe, however, that also you did get a recording of some of my sneezes.
I did, and we should definitely include that.
So we'll play those. I guess we'll play that here. So I think there was only a couple sneezes there, and usually I sneeze more than that, but at least you got a little bit of a taste. So I hope you enjoyed those sneezes. Do you want some mongoose facts?
You know, it's funny. I am actually reading a book called Zoo City right now.
Zoo City?
Okay. And there is a mongoose.
Okay.
That features pretty prominently in it. So it's funny that you were like, mongoose back.
What is Zoo City?
It is a book by Laura Bukes, and it takes place... It's basically like, I think it's kind of meant to be an analogy for apartheid. And there's like people who are called the animaled.
Okay.
And they are like, they have an animal that follows them around and gives them special powers.
Okay.
But they're kind of like shunned by the rest of society.
Huh.
Like a lot of times imprisoned more than other people. Like they're kind of they're like on the outskirts of society.
Right.
Like not trusted and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's interesting.
Okay.
I'm not that far into it so far, but that's the gist of it so far.
Okay.
But anyway, there's a mongoose.
There's a mongoose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a sloth.
We also, by the way, we do
and
need...
a penguin.
So there are a number of animals in this book about
There's
animals.
a penguin that has special armor.
An armored penguin.
An armored penguin.
I kind of want to read this now.
Because if your animal dies, then you die.
Okay.
Like you can't be far apart from your animal.
What if your animal is like dries out? Do penguins need to stay moist? Maybe they don't. I guess they don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you better keep your penguin moist. Sage life advice from me.
that's applicable to many situations.
You better keep your penguin moist.
Always keep your penguin moist.
As the saying goes.
As it goes.
I do think you would enjoy this book.
Should always keep your penguin moist be the phrase for this week? If you comment the phrase, if you're the first person to comment either on Spotify or YouTube, always keep your penguin moist.
Yes.
Then we'll shout you out next week, and I will draw you a picture or something if you want.
Of someone moistening a penguin.
Of a moist, dripping wet penguin.
Wow, you made it sound so dirty.
Okay, just a damp penguin.
Penguin has become a euphemism, apparently. Of a dripping wet penguin.
This whole city's like a penguin, waiting to get plucked. Do you want some mongoose facts? And then we'll finish up here.
Yeah, give me some mongoose facts. Hit me with some mongoose facts.
Okay. Mongooses are part of the feliforms. So they're related to cats rather than to dogs. Weasels, on the other hand, are more related to dogs.
Okay, so we should be calling Goosebump a little mongoose.
Right, yeah.
Rather than a little weasel.
Mongooses are very social. They have sideways pupils like a goat or
they got the evil eyes.
They got the evil devil eyes, which is not very common in predators actually, but they're also prey a lot, so that's probably why they have those. They are immune to venom, which is why they're good at hunting snakes. Which also makes sense because they kind of live in holes in the ground, so snakes are one of the things that could hunt them.
Right.
Meerkats are a kind of mongoose.
Aww.
And meerkats, in real life, I did not know this, hang out with warthogs. And that's why Timon and Pumbaa are a thing.
Really?
Yeah, they like climb on the warthogs and like clean them. And then the warthog basically doesn't do anything for them except it's just there and other animals are scared of the warthog. So it's kind of protection for the mongooses. Or I mean, well, the meerkats, which are mongooses. And
I have a meerkat fact.
Okay.
Meerkats are adorable.
True. Very true. Science fact.
Science fact.
And the fact that they hang out with warthogs.
And every time I learn more about meerkats, they just get more adorable.
Yeah. So those are my mongoose facts. Immune to venom, not just from snakes, but also like scorpions and stuff.
That makes sense because the first time I remember seeing a mongoose was when I was a kid, I used to watch that Ricky Tikki Tavi cartoon.
Right.
And there was a mongoose that like fights off a snake.
Yeah, they're famous for killing cobras and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like their whole thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that meerkats were a kind of mongoose before.
So if we move somewhere where there's lots of snakes, we just need to get a mongoose.
A pet mongoose. I guess so. Or a pack of them.
A pack.
Because that's how they do.
In the yard.
Yeah. In case of any snakes.
Or we could just not move where there's poisonous snakes.
Right. Also, the possibility that there could be snakes in our yard might be less of a problem than having a pack of mongooses in our yard. So, there's that. All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening. We're sorry and we won't do better next time.
Bye.
Bye. What was that podcast about? I'm trying to figure it out.